How old were you when you first became gang affiliated?
At the age of 8.
8 years old.
So I'm fourth generation of family that's gang affiliated.
My first exposure to gangs was I might have been like 10 or 11. I have older brothers who were involved.
First became gang affiliated was around 11 years old.
I was probably about 9 years old. My sister used to hang out with a bunch of 18 streeters, and so yeah, about nine.
First became affiliated with gangs when I was around 16, 15 years old.
How old were you when you first became introduced to drugs?
Came in I've been an active addict for 15 years. I've started using marijuana when I was 9. Started drinking and stuff, doing that. At age 12, I got introduced to methamphetamines, and about 13, I started shooting dope, and shot dope all the way up until I was 24 years old.
Yeah, I started using around 11. I guess I did my first. I guess that's the first time I used, but I really got involved in drinking and smoking weed when I was about 12, 13.
Drugs, I was around 12 years old at one of my sister's parties. She had a bunch of friends over, and they pretty much kind of pushed it on.
I guess.
So growing up, I knew the lifestyle pretty well, and I wasn't really feeling it when I was a little girl. But it wasn't until I was probably in my late 20s when I got really involved. I hit. I was in a place in my life where I was involved in drugs. Alcohol was the main factor in my life then. So once I started involving myself in the drug world, and I pretty much gave up on myself and said, okay, I'm gonna just go all in. But I really didn't want to. I just gave up on myself and said, okay, I'm gonna get into this.
Probably at 5 or 6 when, I barely, know nothing, because during that time, back in the homeland, Thailand and Laos, around that time, a lot of my people smoked a lot of opium, so I was already in that scene, kind of, because they grew a lot of opium out in the mountains. And we knew that it was wrong, but they did it because of income.
When I was 11 years old, I first started smoking pot with my older brother, and he did other things, the meth and stuff. So right around the age of 13, 14, I tried meth the first time, and pretty much fell in love with it then, and was an addict for meth ever since.
Were any of your family members gang affiliated?
No, I wouldn't say that there are any really like gang affiliated. My dad and my uncle were, I guess you could say, not like, they're racist, but not racist. They believe in sticking to your own race, but it's not like they wouldn't hang out with a different, nationality or whatever not. But yeah, my uncle did, years in prison and stuff, so he had kind of that politic viewpoint that he had to follow by if you're, being part of the family or whatnot. So it was kind of different growing up as a child.
My 2 sisters were gang members before I was. They're a little bit older than me, maybe 2 or 3 years older. And they pretty much brought it around the house, and that's when I got introduced into the whole gang atmosphere.
So what made you hang out with gang affiliation people and members?
Well, based on history, we came here in the United States in 1978 after the Secret War, which is the Vietnam War. Most of the people that came over were soldiers that helped out the American in the war. So when we came here, we came based on basically to find our freedom. Basically, when we came, I was probably 7 years old when I came here to the United States in California. We're stuck in a community, so like everybody didn't know how to speak English at all at one point. So everybody kind of stuck together. And at that time when we came here, it wasn't that we wanted to join a gang or form a gang. It was because we were portrayed as the people America went to war with. So we're the yellow-skinned people who America went to war with, and they looked at us as the Viet Cong at that time. So every young kid that went to school during that time was portrayed as the soldier they fought in war with. So at the time we were just, going to school and getting picked on. And at a certain point when we got picked on, that's when everything came together, reformed. It wasn't just my community, it was basically all the Asian that came with us during that time. The Vietnamese, the Laos, the Cambodian, the Filipino, we all came together to form a gang, which wasn't even a gang. It was just a group of people who just came together to help each other out, and it just exploded from there.
Well, because I had people who, I grew up with some people in the neighborhood, and they were doing it. Then my older brothers were involved, and I just felt like it was a sense of purpose, like it was a sense of, this is what we did. This is just how it was in the neighborhood.
For the most part, they were in my neighborhood, kids I went to school with, I grew up with. It wasn't about a gang back then. It was about just a bunch of kids hanging out and getting that family that we didn't get at home. Like my dad, he left when I was young. I didn't have no brothers, so I looked for brothers and father-type figures in the older homeboys and homeboys that I grew up with.
Everybody in my family, every male side of my person in my family, just had a criminal background, was in and out of jail. Just kind of like those behaviors, just fell on to me because it's kind of like what I picked up from, the surroundings of my life. And I can't really pinpoint exactly what made me decide, but I can say that, it just felt like there's more familia being inside of a crew than there was, being in my own home. So.
Okay. Was there any other factors? Like, did you hang out with friends who were gang affiliated?
Yeah, so that's how it started off first. Like, during my addiction, I ended up going to prison when I was 19 years old. And after I got out, I started hanging out with 12th Street, a bunch of the Southsiders around here in the Hillsborough area. And when I was upstate, hung out with some of the Southsiders and some of the white premises, EK. And when I ended up getting out of prison, I, stayed in contact with some of the contacts I had from prison from the Southsiders. I was just hanging out with them, and I was just doing a lot of drugs and stuff. And eventually, one thing led to another, and
How does someone become part of the gang?
Anybody, I believe, can be a part of a gang, you know what I mean? I believe that it's who you hang with, man. Who you hang with is who you are, you know what I mean? And if you really want to make that decision to become a gang member, you know what I mean? You just sit someone down, you know what I mean? An OG, you know what I mean? Someone who's been in it a while, and you sit them down, you tell them, look, man, I've been putting in work for this amount of time. I've done this, you know what I mean? I'm willing to do this, you know what I mean? Put the hat down for me, you know what I mean? And approach the other members, you know what I mean? And that's how someone becomes a gang member. Me per se, we can get into that a little bit earlier, or a little bit later in the interview of my situation, but that's how I believe someone becomes a gang member.
It's usually based on family and credibility. If you can prove that you're down for the gang, and you can actually do something even when you're not a part of that gang, and prove that you want to be a part of them, usually they will accept you. Which you may call it, or if you have a family member that's in the gang and you want to become a part of that gang, they're more accepting to blessing you into the set instead of jumping you into the set.
So, what kind of things would you have to do in order to become part of that gang?
all the criminal stuff that you had to do. You know, I'm not going to name anything that you did to join the gang, but based on criminal things, you have to do certain things to get into the game to prove that you want to be a part of that game.
So anything that could get you arrested, basically.
Not anything that could get you arrested. You know, no.
So my experience with people that weren't born into the lifestyle, gang affiliation, is they would come around, hang out, party. There's a lot of organized crime around it. So whoever participated and was down to be involved in the crime, and we felt that it was a loyal person, then that's when we would court them in, which they would get courted and beat down.
Did your gang or the 12th Street, did they have a pecking order or a ranking system?
12th Street does. Yes. As far as me, we were so fresh. We were kind of scrambling, figuring out how things were going to work and stuff. That I wouldn't really say there was a true pecking order. I mean, there's always a pecking order in every game. Every game that you encounter is all going to have a pecking order. Rather, it's an acknowledged one or a non-acknowledged one. There's always going to be one that's feared the most. So. But as far as like 12th Street goes, I mean, yeah, there's a pecking order. They have what they call OGs, and those are people that they've been in the game a long time. They know the ins and outs, the ropes, and basically,
I'd say someone who's been to prison multiple times, someone who's done dirt, someone who's got a reputation that speaks for himself. You know what I mean? Someone that, someone that for a fact, you know what I mean? Will rob you if you blink long enough, you know what I mean?
So does that order sort of establish itself kind
Through
of
fear, you know what I
automatically?
mean? I would say through fear.
Okay,
You know what I mean? The one who's feared the most at the moment.
that makes sense.
Well, for me, I was actually, they actually tried to detour me away, but I would just, I didn't have anything else to do. I did play ball, but, I was just following around my brothers and this. But they have, people who are shot callers or OGs or, and then there's the people who sell and fight and all that stuff, And so there really wasn't no pecking order per se. Like they would have a meeting, but
Right.
I don't know who was who. I was at such a young age.
In my game, there is a pecking order. There's a hierarchy that we never talk about it. In the Asian culture, the oldest person, even if he's the dumbest person, he's the shot caller. He's the main guy. So it's based on age wise, and it's not based on like, I'm the smartest person. No, so it's basically based on age wise, and it'll start from there. The shot caller from every group will decide the next person who's going to be in charge.
What was expected of you as being part of a gang?
well, being affiliated at first, before I even became part of the gang, there's a lot of expectations you got to really show and kind of like prove to yourself and prove to others that you're even worthy for one. And I mean, as far as like when you're hanging out, let's say with any given gang member, and you're not even part of their crew, whatever they do, you have to be willing to back them up and do what they're doing. So I mean, those are just some of the aspects you got to go with. So I mean, if they're out getting high and pulling licks, jacking cars or breaking into houses, doing burglaries, anything like that, I mean, you got to be willing to do that, because if you're not, then it's going to spark them in their head, like, what's up with this cat? Why is he not down? Is he a cop? Is he a rat? What is he? And so that's kind of how that aspect goes.
Really nothing, because like I said, I initially became a follower, but once I really started becoming active, which is I grew up in Minneapolis, and then I came out here in like '86, and when I became active, it was just expected to hold down the neighborhood, just fight, shoot, whatever came with the territory as far as to defend our turf.
Kind of things I expect when you're gang affiliated or even a gang member, man, to be down when it's time to get down. You know what I mean? To do what's expected of you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Not to take on any situation. You know what I mean? That you're facing. You know what I mean? And be willing to take the keys if someone ain't willing to drive. You know what I mean? And to be able to know that you're gonna be able to uphold your part in the role. You know what I mean?
So what would you say a normal day in being part of a gang would look like?
Most of the time, you're always with your friends. You're either hanging out or putting in work. If you're not putting in work, then you're not a part of the gang because you're not doing anything for them. So you actually have to put in work. That's basically how the day is. You have to put in work.
Pretty much, you wake up, you call your homeboys, what they're doing, what they got planned for the day. You get together, usually consists of, getting a case of beer. It can be early in the morning, start drinking, and then actually, whatever comes after that, it's not like, you plan what to do, it's just you get drunk. And you continue just, kicking it and having fun. And whatever pops up, like, you need to make some money, we need to get some money, we need to go somewhere. It just, whatever comes up. It's not really a set plan. It's just like, whatever we want to do for the day, we're going to do it. No matter if it's going to get some girls we'll kick it with, going to the lake, drinking more beer, making money. Like, it's just whatever comes up.
Well, for me, I mean, it's, I sold dope for meth for the Mexican Mafia for the longest time, and then after I went to jail and got out, I started selling dope for 12th Street, and basically my typical day was just selling drugs, running around, getting high, shooting dope, and just trying to stay afloat with what I had going. Other than that, it's like at night, burglaries. Whatever fit my need for my fix that I had for that day.
We would just be hanging, maybe sell some drugs, maybe smoke. Probably getting high, more likely drinking. Just running around, being bad, getting into this, getting into that, stealing stuff. Just real low level stuff.
I had kids, and I had kids from other notorious gang members. So my typical life was Monday through Friday. I would get up, take care of the house, clean, take a shower, get ready. Kids would come home from school, get them fed.
Yeah.
Weekends would start coming around. Typically on a Thursday, I would be like, okay, we got to start planning out what Friday is going to look like, and Saturday. And I would get a family member, normally a younger cousin, to come babysit. And come Friday night, I would get involved in the parties. So we had a lot of underground parties in Portland. So I would show up to the underground parties. A lot of them involved, you had to bring your strap, so you had to bring your gun, so everybody had their own gun. It was normal to carry your piece with you, allow others to see it, drink, dance, and then after the drinking and the dancing later on that night, we would go out and hit up our rivals.
A typical day. Dottie's opens up at 7. I'll be at Dottie's. I'll be playing VP. I'll be looking to the guy right next to me, looking and trying to figure out a way I can interact with him so I can plot on him. You know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, the people I've met that are have addicted personalities, you know what I mean, are very easily to manipulate. If they're in there playing video poker, any by careful choice of words, you know what I mean. Actually, I'd say plot on, you know what I mean, but interact with them, get them in a situation where they're not going to be, it's not going to be their norm, and I'm going to take advantage of that situation, and I'm either going to rob them, or I'm going to have them give me money through ways that they feel like they want to do it, you know what I mean, and I'm going to go out throughout my day, and or I would go throughout my day with that fix, you know what I mean, that'd be my fix for the morning. You think I got to find my fix for the afternoon, so I'm calling up homeboys, you know what I mean? What are you doing? What'd you do? How much did you come up on? Did you come up on? If not, all right, I gotta go, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't about friendship, man. It wasn't about, you know what I mean? It wasn't about friendship, man. I wasn't trying to hang out with you, man. I was trying to get high. And if you didn't have nothing for me, I didn't have nothing for you. You know what I mean?
But what were your highs and your lows?
In that lifestyle.
Well, to that lifestyle and then to becoming who you are right now, a counselor.
Okay, so the highs, when I was involved in that lifestyle, I think being involved, I was really good at organizing the crime. So a lot of my family members or other members would come to me to, if you will, let's organize to pull a lick. And I feel like I'm boasting about it by talking about it, but I had the brains to be able to plan it out. And when I did that, it made me feel really powerful. I had my own gun, and the gun that I carried around was a pretty big one for a girl my size, which I was a lot smaller than. So that made me feel empowered. I gained a lot of respect. So, like I said earlier, I come from a family that are both gangs, the blue gang and then the red gang, and so I could go wherever I wanted to. I didn't have to look over my shoulder, so I had more doors that were more open to me.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to the organized crime, I dealt with other gangs that I had a good relationship with. I maintained that relationship with them, so that made me feel empowering, that I could go other places where normally the guys in the family couldn't go.
Well, one time, at one point, I was, I fell on Oregon's first gang-related drive-by in '88, and because of that, I had a lot of status, I had a lot of stature. People looked up to me. People, I was respected. So that was probably the highest point. But it was also the lowest point because it was the scariest I've ever been. I hadn't been incarcerated. I was 17 years old, facing 20 years in prison. In an adult system. And it was really. It was the good and the bad at the same time. That was the high and the low.
Have you ever been to jail or prison?
Yes. I've spent, I'm 29 now. I've spent about 6, if you add all the time together, most of my time was like 6 months in, 30 days out, 6 months in, 30 days out. I spent about like 6 months in, or 6 years altogether in the county, and I've done 2 years upstate, so 8 years.
Yeah, I went to youth authority. I got arrested for attempted robbery when I was 17. Went to youth authority. I got kicked out of the youth authority because I was inciting riots with other gang members, with other races. They didn't want me there anymore because I was causing too much problems. So they sent me to prison. I did 3 years in prison. Got out. Was out for maybe less than a year. Got another robbery. Went back to prison for another 3 years, and I got out.
Yeah, I went to jail for the first time at 10. I was 10. I went to jail for a burg one, and I was almost 11. And my lawyer told me nobody wants to see a 10-year-old in jail. And I believe I thought I was getting out, you know what I mean? But they put me in Harkin's house, and in Harkin's house they started popping Adderall. And I ended up going back to jail. So at age 10, I went to jail for the first time for 2 months. And I remember that being a scary situation, man. And I remember the tough time that it was for me. But through the years of going to jail, man, it did get easier. It became my norm. You know what I mean? I felt more comfortable in jail. You know, sometimes, not all the time, you know what I mean? Then I did, you know, bouncing couch to couch, you know, living, running and gunning, man, you know. Like, jail was safe, man.
Yeah, I did. So the criminal lifestyle, like being incarcerated, I started as a teenager, getting a lot of fights. So it started with violence. Then I started coming to Washington County Jail. I was 18, my first arrest. It was at the old jail. And again, it was for assault. And then it just spiraled down. I got into methamphetamine. I got into the organized crime with the gangs. So UUMVs, lying to police officers, just that whole, it just spiraled down from there. And so I was always in and out of the county jail. I never made it to prison. I believe that gang tasks never wanted me to go to prison because they knew that and I tried to go to prison. Like, that's where the insanity took me, was I tried to get to the prison yard so that I could be somebody in the prison yard, so that I could help the family within the walls, to take care of what needed to be taken care of inside. And so I never got there, so I always stayed in the county.
Do you think the punishment was fair for what
Oh
crimes?
yeah, I think that if I would have been caught for, you know, the majority of things that I've done, then I think that I wouldn't be sitting here right now today. You know, which a lot of people that are in that kind of life, you know, they've gotten away with a lot of stuff. You know, and if they would have been caught for everything that they've done, then they wouldn't be sitting, you know, where they're at now. You know, so was punishment fair? I mean, yeah, it was more than fair. If you would have asked me 2.5, 3 years ago, I would have said no. It was society's problems, not mine. But today, yeah, I think that I'm actually lucky to be, you know, sitting here.
I guess at the time, I didn't think it was because, you know, my whole thing was I didn't do it. You know, I didn't think it was necessary. But now, where I'm at right now, I think it was it should have been probably more because a lot of people got hurt, a lot of stuff got taken, and as of right now, I think it was.
So how was your relationship with your family and maybe your close friends that weren't gang affiliated? How did your gang affiliation affect those relationships? Did you have a girlfriend? Were you able to?
Everybody was affected because if they can't find you, they go to your family. They can't find you, they go to your girlfriend. You know, but if people look at the bigger picture, how it really started, we're the one who protected the one who got the education to go get their education. We're the one who protected the one that are doctors right now, because we're the one that got beat up for them. Because they weren't the one who was stepping up to any other race. We're the one who stepped up to protect them so they can go to school.
I don't have a relationship with my family. I love my family. I don't forget where I came from. And when I do see my family, it's when they come to where I work, which is in the correction center. When I do get the opportunity to see them, I do give them my love. And I think being here in the position that I'm in today, they know where the help is now. I was able to break that cycle for myself and for my children, and I hold the line because I know that I have hope that one day my family will come and ask for the help that they need.
I isolated from my family because the type of stuff I was doing, my family didn't accept. I was heavily into doing drugs and selling drugs, and robberies and gang fights, just the whole everything. So my family didn't want me around, and my friends, they embraced that. The more you do, the crazier you are. They embrace that, and then we just feed off each other's energy. So I was isolated from my family mostly.
What made you decide to change the way your way of life?
So, like I said earlier, I had daughters, I had kids, and in 2005, three of the youngest girls were removed from my care due to the lifestyle, the gangs, and methamphetamine. And so I think that really is what drove me to make that change. I have 6 daughters, and the 3 oldest were teenagers. So I really had to take a look at if, I was willing to break that cycle or not. And my last arrest was 3/29 of 2006, and I think that's really when I hit my rock bottom, and DHS was involved and said I would never get my kids back. So I think that was really the point where I hit my bottom, and I realized it had to take me to make that change and not blame the world for being where I was at that time.
Well, really, I started to see the parallel between my criminality and my addiction. I was, like I said, I was lost, and and a lot of things that I thought I wanted or thought I would get, I didn't receive. And the love, the respect, and stuff like that, it wasn't what I was looking for. I was looking to become a whole person, to have a sense of purpose in life, and I didn't want to be that person. I started to see how my behavior and my actions, manifest in society more and more, and it was causing more and more pain to a lot of people. Not just people that were affiliated with my gang or particular set or community, but just how gangs are affecting the world. All across the country, people are losing their lives, and I didn't want to continue to be that way. I didn't want to lose my life. A lot of my friends end up dead. A lot of my friends end up incarcerated for a long time, and I just thought that there had to be something better for me. I had a higher purpose.
Well, I just had a son in 2012, so after I had my son, man, that kind of made me grow up a little bit and want to be part of his life like my dad wasn't part of my life. I don't want my son to grow up and see the tattoos and see the gang life, and see the fast stuff, the fun stuff, and get brainwashed into thinking that that's what he needs to do because that's what dad did. He needs a dad that's there that's gonna whoop his ass if he decides to get out of line and show him how to be a man, like my boss didn't show me. So
Society grows and society change, and every day now everybody's always around other ethnicity and they're learning. And the reason why in my people, we're changing along with society is because people see that. And when we change for the better and people see that, okay, you don't need to join a gang, there's other way to when you're in trouble, there's other way that you can go about to get help. Compared to when we first came here, even if you try to ask for help, they look the other direction because they didn't understand you or they didn't want to help you.
Do you have any regrets? I mean,
I want to say, I would say I don't regret it because, those are the things that I lean to now to keep me focused. As part of my passion is to give back to people who were like me. At some point I would like to be a counselor and counsel at-risk youth that come from broken homes and got involved in similar lifestyles, to possibly prevent them from going that route. And those that have went that route to show them that there's a different way, that you can do some things differently.
I don't have any regrets. I believe that I survived that lifestyle and that I came as far as I came and that I've become the person that I've become today, which I think that I'm a pretty cool person today. I think that that I've been gifted with many gifts, so that way I can be in the position where I'm at, have that experience so that that next Lydia that comes my way, I can help her. So I don't live with regret today.
My biggest regret was sticking a needle in my arm. Because I believe that once I stuck the needle in my arm, that was the hardest struggle of my addiction. Like I've never been so much in love and stuck. Felt in love and stuck at the same time. You know, not wanting to be there, but wanting to be there before until I stuck a needle in my arm. Once I did that, I hated myself for what I've done, but I loved the feeling. It was phenomenal, you know. But I felt like there was no escape route. So the only way to escape it was to continue to do it. Because by continuing to do it, I would numb all the regret and the pain and you know, everything out. It'd be gone.
If I knew what I knew now, what I knew then, I'll change. There is a regret. You know, if I know what I know now. But then, you know, there weren't that picture, you know, there weren't that path in life to take, you know. So you can change, you know.
I have a long list of regrets, man. Like I wish I never got involved. I wish I got introduced. I wish I was never a part of that. I put a lot of pain on other people and their families, the moms, you know, having to visit their kids, you know, in the hospitals or, you know, like the stores that they got robbed or like it just a whole lot of damage was caused by this false thing that we put in our heads that is right.
My daughter.
Can you elaborate on that? Or do you feel comfortable?
Yeah, you know, my daughter, when she was born, man, when my daughter was born, I wasn't ready, man. I was scared. I didn't know what being a father meant, what being a parent meant. I didn't want to give her the only life I could provide was not good, and I ran out on her at a very young age, and I regretted it, and I ran hard for the first year of her life. I never put down a needle. Every day for the first year of her life, I didn't put down that needle. And the last time I got arrested was 9/17/2011, and I made a decision to be a father, to be a parent, and I made a promise to God that that's what I was going to do. And he touched me that night, and he came to me and he told me that if I'm willing to do the work and be faithful, then he would reward me with my daughter, and that's what he's done for me. Today I got full custody of my daughter. I got her out of DHS. You know, I successfully completed DHS. I live in my own apartment. I pay my own bills. I know how to pay bills. You know what I mean? I got my own car. I got car insurance. You know what I mean? You know, I'm grateful I can just pay for childcare. You know what I mean? I'm learning to be able to be a provider. You know what I mean? Every day is a learning. I learn, but I'm definitely proud of where I'm at right now. To where I was.
What would you say to a child or some teenager who wants to be in a gang?
I would sit them down and I would talk to them and really have them think about, you know, the decision that they're making. You know, because I know one thing for me personally, someone telling me no is going to want to make me do the opposite. You know, so I'm not going to go up and tell them don't do that, but I'm going to show them the consequences through my personal experiences. What is to come, and it is going to come out that way. There's no dodging it. You cannot go out and use drugs and go out and become gang affiliated and not end up with a negative background. You are gonna end up in some kind of trouble. You know, something bad is gonna happen. You're gonna have a lot of regret, and you're gonna find yourself in a cycle. That's what they mean. You know the definition of a saint is, right?
trying to get different results by doing the same thing over
and over again. Exactly. Well, it's insane. I mean, just to think of taking that step forward, thinking that it's going to better your life, is insane, because you're going to step into a cycle of insane, and then you're going to get stuck there. It's going to be hard to get out.
Okay.
I'll tell them to think about it, man. Do some research on it, man, because it doesn't pay out, man. The only way you're gonna get out of a gang is really you die, prison, or it's a lifelong commitment, and it's not a very long life living, because you're either gonna get shot, killed, prison time, and you're hurting your families more than you ever know. So it's not something that you want to do.
I'm gonna say this: if you want to become a game banger, put 110% into the set. You don't do it for girls. You don't do it just to get popular in the community or whatever, because it's not a joke, because you will be labeled for life if you join a gang. And most of these young guys these days see all these rap songs, all these media, and think it's cool to join a gang. What is the gang going to do for you when you get locked up? What is the gang going to do for you when you get out? The only person who's going to be there for you is the people who you love. Basically, and certain individual friends who's always gonna be there in your life. That person's gonna come back into your life and help you. But like I always say, people have to learn from their own mistake to understand what you're talking about. Because if they don't learn, then they will never know. And like I always say, if you want to join a gang, go 110% to the set. Just don't be a part-timer. Like I always say, don't be a weekend warrior, and that's it.
So it's all or nothing.
Yes.
Well, thank you, B. Do appreciate your time, and I'm sure your life story will make an impact on somebody.
I hope so. Thanks.
I walked alone, my state of mind was home sweet home. I couldn't keep a girl, they wanted kids with cars of chrome. Some life, if you ain't where gold, yes I was old. And you got more juice and dope for every bottle sold. Hell no, I say there's gotta be a better way. But hey, never gamble in a